Today is November the 14th, 2024, and it is time for another market update. Hello, it's Mark Boehmig with Michael Saunders and Company. In this channel, Living in Lakewood Ranch, we cover all the areas around Lakewood Ranch, from Bradenton to Sarasota and Siesta Key up to Anna Maria Island. So every month we put on a market update as to what is going on here in the Lakewood Ranch area. And today I want to talk about where interest rates are and what we see happening in the market. So my first segment of this is going to be what's going on in the zip codes of 34202 and 34211. Those zip codes are primarily in the Manatee County area, and we have a good statistic generator that we get this information from called Trend Graphics. And what I like about it, it's concise and it's simple and it's easy to understand and to read. And so today we're going to talk about what we're seeing in those zip codes, and then we're going to do a map search of the Lakewood Ranch area, and I'll tell you what we found out for Lakewood Ranch, whether it's in Sarasota or Manatee counties. So for the month ending in October of 2024, we had a total of 556 homes that were actually on the market in 34202 and 34211. And of those, 93 went pending, and we had 109 that actually closed. Now, this is just resale. This doesn't have anything to do with new construction, and we'll delve into that when we get to the map search from MLS. The average days on market for houses right now in those two zip codes is 86. So we're seeing a little bit of an increase in days on market, and that has to do with the inventory levels. Now, our list price to sell price ratio was 91%. Typically, we're seeing that number between 93 and 95%, but it was down to 91%. And again, the buyers are having more to choose from, so that's putting pressure on the sellers. Average price per square foot. We're at $340 price per square foot. That's up slightly over last month and then up over the month before. But keep this in mind, we typically see a price swing of $10 to $15 price per square foot, and that really means that we're averaging, maintaining an average price per square foot that is normal here for this market with those types of swings. And the reason is because we're going to have some houses that sell that may be $4 and $5 million, and that is going to skew that number up higher, and then the next month we might not have sales of those high prices, which brings the price per square foot down. So that's one reason why we see fluctuations in the price per square foot. Now, the average list price for the homes that were on the market, those 556 homes that were actually on the market, the average list price was $995,000. And then the average sale price was $865,000. Now, where's that median one? The one that fell right in the middle, the median price was $657,000 for the month of October. What about inventory? Well, inventory was at 5.1 months supply. So when we have that much inventory, buyers have more to choose from, sellers become a little bit more aggressive on pricing. So that's why we see the market doing the things that it's doing now. Now, one of the other things that we'll address is interest rates, but I'll wait until we get to the end to attack that. What about the Lakewood Ranch map search? So if I just do a Lakewood Ranch map search around all of Lakewood Ranch for the MLS, that gives me a good idea of what's going on in Lakewood Ranch as a whole. Now, as you know, Manatee County is north of University Parkway and Sarasota County is south of University Parkway. So that way we get both of those counties that are typically have a Lakewood Ranch address, maybe not even an address, but they're in the Lakewood Ranch proper area. If you go down into the Sarasota County area, those addresses are going to show Sarasota. They won't say Lakewood Ranch, just like we have some that say Bradenton that are actually in Lakewood Ranch. So we had a total of 530 that were on the market on the MLS as active listings during the month of October. 66 went pending, and we had a total of 112 that were sold. Now, the average days on market when we put in all of that area of Lakewood Ranch on the map search for MLS was 77 days. And then our list price to sell price ratio was higher. It was 97%. Now, the reason it's 97% is because new construction is included in these numbers. Not all new construction gets listed in MLS. Either the developers will put some on and then they get sold, or the agents, if they represent a buyer that's bought in new construction, may add theirs to the new construction list in the MLS so that it gets calculated. So that's the two ways that it's going to actually get into MLS to be in these numbers, if the developer had it on or if the agent that brought the buyer put it in. The average price per square foot for that area was $336 a square foot. The average list price was $940,000, and then the average sold price was $901. So you can see there's a very big similarity between whether I do it for just 3, 4, 202, and 211, or if I do it for a map search, because the areas are very similar and a lot of the properties are incorporated into both of those listings. Now, what about interest rates? Well, the Fed has had their second interest rate drop. They dropped it 25 basis points last week, and then the prior meeting they had dropped it 0.5 point. So we've seen a 3/4 of a point drop. But what's happened to interest rates? Well, before they started any of those drops, our interest rates were down to 6%. Today, they're at 6.7%. So there's a lot of other market factors that are involved when it comes to calculating the interest rate. The interest rate is what banks borrow money from each other for. What do they charge each other? And so a lot of that has to do with where the interest rates sit. A lot of it has to do with the markets, of course the economy, and of course the political changes that we see here that go on a constant basis. So I have an idea that eventually they're coming down, but they're not coming down yet, and we're not seeing much of a reduction probably between now and the end of the year. So my take on this is that property is expensive to buy and to sell. It's not like stock where you can just trade it anytime you want. There's a big process, and it's a headache, of course, for the buyers and for the sellers to go through that emotional roller coaster to get the property sold. So we believe in the buy and hold process. You know, if you're going to buy a house and you're going to live in it for 5 or 6 or 7 years or 10 years, then it's probably best to buy when you're ready to buy. And then if you need to refinance in the future to get a lower rate, just like all of those people did when they went from 5 and 4 all the way down to 3% and even less than 3%. So they refinanced at that time because they saw a future savings. So there's a calculation that you can run, of course, to find out what is the difference in my payment now, what will it be in the future if I do the refinance, and how long do I plan on staying here. If the savings equals it, then it's probably a good idea to do the refinance. So I hope you got good information from this video about living in the Lakewood Ranch area and what our market conditions are at the end of October of 2024. And if you find yourself coming to the area, I'd love to help you out if you're looking for property. And if you currently live here and you're thinking about selling, I'd love to talk to you about what that process would look like for you. Mark Boehmig, Michael Saunders and Company.